I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Maplewood Community Design Review Board. Today is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, 6:01 p.m. And we have 4 of us out of 5. That makes a quorum, plus a little extra room. So the next item is roll call, and looks like the only person we are missing is Anant Shankar. So with that, we will continue. Next thing would be the approval of the agenda. Staff, any corrections, etc.?
Chair and board, staff does not have any amendments to the agenda as presented.
Okay.
All right, I motion to approve the agenda for the February 21st CDRB meeting.
Okay. Second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Because we didn't ask the board if they had anything. Didn't think so. Let's move on with the vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous. We'll move on now to the approval of the minutes. The last time we met was November 15th, 2022. Staff, anything to add to the minutes from the last meeting?
Chair and board, staff does not have any amendments to the minutes as presented.
Anything from the board?
I have any amendments. I'll motion to approve the minutes
We have a motion.
from the November 15th CDRB meeting.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. Okay, any discussion? I didn't think so. Let's take that to a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we move on to new business. In the front page. New business is the design review of the assisted living and memory care project, 1910 County Road C East. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair and board. If you take a look at the screens in front of you or within the room, I have a handful of slides here to walk through the project with you. Galahad Development is proposing a 61,000 square foot, 2-story assisted living memory care building on a 3.76 acre site located at 1910 County Road C East. You can see the property outlined in red on the image in front of you. That's also the maps are included with your staff report. It's inset from Roy Fair Avenue, but it's near the intersection of County Road C and Roy Fair Avenue, again on that vacant land. To move forward with this project, the applicant is requesting approval for a conditional use permit, a wetland buffer variance, and design review. Tonight with the CDRB, we'll be looking particularly at the design review. So again, of the 72 unit building, 46 of those would be geared towards assisted living, 26 for memory care. The site is currently guided by the city's comprehensive plan as a mixed use neighborhood, which allows up to 31 units per acre. So with that calculation, actually up to 116 multifamily units of any variety. That could be senior, regular family type multifamily housing units could be located on this site. Obviously the project before you was 72 units of senior care. The site is zoned business commercial, which allows multifamily housing projects with the approval of a conditional use permit. Later this evening, the Planning Commission will be holding a public hearing and specifically looking at the conditional use permit as well as that wetland buffer variance request. Speaking of the wetland request, there is a managed B wetland, which includes a creek on the south side of the property. If you look at the map in front of you, you see kind of that green area on the south side. Now, the developer has had both wetlands that are near the site delineated, so the actual delineation does not match up exactly with what is in the city's wetland mapping system, but it gives you an idea of what we're looking at. And so on that wetland to the south and the creek, the city ordinance requires a 75-foot minimum setback with a 100-foot average to that of a wetland buffer around a creek. The project itself will grade up to the creek, so there is a 100-foot variance that is requested. Now the end result of the final conditions if the building is approved to move forward, the building itself will meet the required setbacks, and the applicant is proposing to mitigate it, the variance with improved plantings and buffer enhancement in that wetland buffer area. The city's Environmental and Natural Resource Commission did review the project at their meeting on January 25th last month, and they did recommend approval of the wetland buffer variance per the conditions outlined in the environmental report included with your report tonight. Looking at the site, the project site itself has approximately 60 feet of frontage on County Road C. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the car wash that is right on the corner of County Road C and Whitebear Avenue. How you access that site is actually via property that's part of this project. So the car wash is the entity that has that easement to access their own site. So we are looking at a shared drive condition with the car wash. The applicant can speak more specifically on this, but I know they have some designs that would work with the car wash on alleviating some of the queuing concerns that have been occurring at that car wash ever since they did their own remodel and flipped the orientation of the site. So there is some excess property on the car wash site that potentially could help alleviate some of that queuing. It's part of the conditions that are in both the approvals tonight. It is a staff recommendation that the applicant be directed to submit those potential solutions and site plans that would work with the car wash and that shared access situation. In addition to County Road C, the site is working, the developer is working on a potential shared access from Whitebear Avenue. The current owner of this vacant property also owns the building and land and the business where the women's clinic, 2 buildings are located, so it is one common ownership. Currently, the developer would ultimately assume control of the vacant property, but they are working with the women's clinic owner as well as the accounting firm property owner that's directly to the north on getting that shared access in place to provide another entrance point to Whitebear Avenue. So the developer can provide an update on that if there's questions, but I do want to be clear from the city's point of view, that is not a requirement. They have a single access up County Road C, which meets their requirements for accessing the site. So anything in addition would be to the benefit potentially of this site. There is one residential home to the northwest of where this building would be located. So it's a single family home that's on the south side of County Road C. This new building, because of that proximity to the residential home, is required to be set back 50 feet from the shared property lines. The building is meeting that requirement. In addition, the parking lanes, or I'm sorry, the drive lanes and the parking lots are also required to be set back 20 feet. Again, those conditions are being met with the proposed site plan. Looking at the design itself, and you did receive the full design package as part of your attachments with your staff report. The building is proposed to be constructed with a combination of cement siding, stone, glass. The combination of lap and shingle style siding will contribute to the variety in the building facade, which staff does believe fits in with the character of the neighborhood and would be an attractive addition to the neighborhood. The project also is required, their city code has a maximum building footprint of 35% and also requires a minimum green area of 35% within the site. The project is meeting both those requirements. And if there's more specific questions on the design of the building, the materials, staff is here for those questions as well as the applicants. Moving to parking, so the code states multifamily parkings require 2 parking spaces per unit, with one of those spaces being covered. So on a typical multifamily project, we'd be looking at 144 spaces for this project, again, with half those being covered. The applicant is proposing to provide 130 surface spaces, none covered. So the applicant is seeking a parking waiver of 14 spaces of the overall count and from the covered parking requirements. We know that senior living type facilities are function different than multifamily facilities. The applicants in the staff report laid out what they expect their high point use, which would be many stalls less than what they're even providing. And then there's also a talk about, again, with the women's clinic, has a potential building expansion down the road, potential for shared parking. So we'd want to see all those access, parking type agreements in place before anything, either project moves forward. So staff is comfortable both with the shared parking arrangements and with the number of stalls that would be provided for this facility. Looking at the landscape plan, the applicant is proposing to remove 56 of the site's 85 significant trees as defined by city ordinance. This is not surprising in terms of just being able to use the site for this proposed use, but the code does require then the planting of 342 trees. It's really a calculation of caliber inches, but when you break that down to a minimum of 2-inch trees, that's the number you would get. The current site plan shows 54 new trees, and the applicant has the option to either add additional new trees to help meet the code requirements or they ultimately have the option to pay into the city's tree fund to meet that requirement as well. So while it's a big number, 342, staff does feel comfortable that the applicant's going to be able to meet their code requirements to move forward. And again, we do that single family to the northwest of the site. The applicant is required to screen, provide screening, and they are able to do that with landscaping. And they're proposing to do that with the use of arborvitae trees. Again, that would meet the city's year-round screening requirements. Staff sends surrounding properties a public hearing notice and a survey to properties again within 500 feet. We received one comment, which was actually from the owner of that accounting firm and that property, and talking about the desire for that needing to work on more on the details of that shared parking agreement. Later tonight, the Planning Commission will be holding a public hearing, which again, those same properties were notified of. And just want to make clear, I know we had a quorum, we actually had quorum issues with both groups last month, and so we re-noticed the public hearing tonight. So those property owners were made aware of the rescheduled meeting tonight. Just going through the schedule, where the project's been and where it's going. Again, last month to the ENR, Environmental Natural Resource Commission, positive recommendation. Tonight, Community Design Review Board, your group. Later tonight, Planning Commission. And then ultimately to the City Council on March 13th. City Council makes all decisions regarding this. Up to this point, we'll be working with recommendations from your group and others. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the design review resolution that's included in your staff report. I've mentioned the applicant is here to stand for any questions from the board, as is staff. Thank you.
Does the board have any questions or anything for staff?
Staff, could you pull the landscape plan up just to show the screening for the east side of the site? Is there any, it doesn't look like there's a, the east, not that resident, I feel like that's really good. Is there any requirement to do enhanced screening between the businesses that are on White Bear in there, or?
Chair and Commission, no, there's not a requirement for any type of screening between a multifamily building and a residential building, or I'm sorry, a commercial building.
Okay.
Okay. Would the applicant like to come forward? And please state your name for the record. Sign in. You sign in, right?
Lucas Larson. Address is 5425 Maplewood.
Okay. Is it, do you have a microphone?
We don't have a microphone out front. That's
Okay.
me, and I don't know where they keep them.
Okay.
So,
I can talk louder if you need me to.
All right. Talk loud. Yep.
I am the owner of Galehead Development, so I'm the applicant. I'm here today to answer your questions that you have. And then I also brought our civil engineer and a member of our architecture team, so we can get as detailed as you guys need to get comfortable with this.
Okay. I have a question. Where does the mechanical equipment go? The HVAC.
We have no-
So is there a?
Can you speak up, please? And also state your name for the record.
Yes, I'm Ben Lindow. I'm the director of the design for Dorn Architecture at 3803 Glenroy Road in Bloomington.
Okay.
So for mechanical equipment, is there a floor plan in the back of the lawn? There's a business.
I didn't see it earlier.
And our current designer is out sick, so I'm helping out here today, and I apologize if he not able to answer that question. If there's magic packs.
Yeah, so
Then the magic pack system, there's one for units. It's not sure for
Each unit has its own HVAC.
Yes.
So,
Okay. What about the common areas?
yeah, so the common areas will probably be a split system. We're actually still on design
Okay.
for the mechanical system, but basically, some of the comments could have a magic pack, like an individual inboard. Basically, what they are is they're like, we'll do a 3 foot by 3 foot closet, just like we would in the
Right.
units, and we'll put the vertical.
Okay, I've seen those before.
Yep. So it'll probably be a combination of the comments will be a combination of magic packs and a mini split, which would basically function like a residential single family.
Is that what it really called, magic packs?
That's the commercial name. That's like the brand name. Yeah.
Okay,
And they have the air conditioner and the heater all in one unit,
right,
so you don't have the external AC unit out in front
okay.
for most of the project. It's design built, so there will be a few of those, but most of those will be all internal.
I'm just getting at, there wouldn't be like a big air handler like on the roof or anything like that.
No.
Okay, thank you.
As long as we're on that, the trash receptacles and then kitchen like equipment. Is the kitchen equipment vent through the roof, or would that be?
There's a little bump out, I think. Maybe you know this or not. But what to be honest with you, is I would have to follow up with you. Sometimes we vent through the side of the building,
Yeah.
and sometimes we vent vertically. It's most economical for us to vent through the side of the building whenever we can do that.
Okay.
However, there are sometimes some restrictions with state building codes based on the distance between our venting and moving windows and stuff. So I'm happy to follow up with you on that question, but I don't have the exact answer tonight.
It would be just great to be able to see what the screening around that looks like.
Yep.
And the elevations, I don't see them.
Yeah, you're just seeing I think the elevations are just in the front.
They are, yeah. And it doesn't really, like, I can see the kitchen is in that southeast corner of the building. So I'm assuming that's where the
That's right.
dumpsters would also be.
Yes, yeah, that's right. So if you see on the site plan there, it looks like almost an enlarged sidewalk at the very southeast corner of the building. So that'll be a concrete drive aisle that will be used for our trash.
And that'll be a screened-in trash receptacle space.
Yeah, the trash is actually within the building.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you have any building materials with you?
I do not, no. However, this cementitious siding that we use on almost all of the jobs, it's a hardy panel. So it comes with and our customers all love this because of the maintenance. So it's high
Right,
quality
yeah.
finish.
No, we're all familiar with Target products.
Yep.
Just wondering about the stone.
So that would be a cultured stone. So it's laid up like traditional stone without what's joining, but it's made out of cement. It's dyed slightly.
And is the color going to be brown or grays? Do we know the color selection on that yet?
Basically an earth tone to kind of anchor the building with brown. So it just gives a nice base to the building on the entire base, and then it comes up in certain areas that you can see in brown to let those white forms kind of pop out more. Those more traditional residential white forms that you see through the gable ends. So it's basically the brown that you see. So there is a fair amount of stone on this project. And yeah, I'll just answer questions. One at a time.
It might be helpful just to, we've seen a lot of the building materials that come in front of this board. If we could get just even photos with the samples.
Yeah, that's
of
not a
the
problem.
actual proposed.
Yeah.
I would motion to add that as a recommendation so we can just see those color combinations together. Sometimes we get some stuff that doesn't necessarily look natural.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Want to look really good.
That's not an issue.
We can have a sheet of cement that shows all the materials and all they're all next to each other. And then we physical ones.
Yeah.
For the access on Concord C, are we adding signing and lighting to that, to the entrance? That's a big dark spot right now. It's pretty heavily foliaged.
Are you talking where the car wash is there?
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the proposed, how the resolution to have that access work, since the car wash flip flopped
Yeah.
their entrance point to be on the west side of the building.
Yeah.
It's the car wash I go to with my truck and my car. It's not, I don't know.
it's a mess.
It's a mess for this site
Yes.
to have access, so.
Yeah.
What do you guys have a drawing?
I don't know if it's in your packet.
I didn't see,
We do, there is.
not detailed, not like a close-up of that, like the passage.
Yeah, so what we have is, I had Kevin, our civil engineer, there's enough room at that entrance point to do 3 lanes. And so we have a lane, an entrance lane, we have a center turn lane. So cars can come in, turn into that turn lane, and then they can kind of hang out there until they can get into the, do their left turn into the car wash.
The queue.
And then there would be, there's enough space for just a clear, wide open, right out on County Road C. So there's enough space for 3 lanes in there. And then,
Yeah, I mean, because there's space past where the curb currently is on the west side of what's currently paved for the car wash, is that correct?
yes. Yeah, so Kevin, he's our
Yeah,
civil
Kevin,
engineer. He actually drew it. He actually drew it up,
Kevin.
and I said, Kevin, I've had a conversation with the neighbors. They're concerned about access. I'm concerned about access. It doesn't benefit me to have all this congestion in my access point. I said, what can we do to alleviate some of this concern? There's 2 things. One is to add that or to delineate 3 distinct drive aisles, one being a turn lane. And then another is there's actually room. This is a conversation that has yet to be had because we're still working through all of our easements with the neighbors on the east. But there is enough room on the south side of that car wash site to provide a stacking area. So you can actually do a loop there, so they could zip right in and take their left turn, go on the south like 1/3 of their site. There would be a loop there, and then everyone can stack on that site. So that would.
You're saying south farther of where the drying machines are, or the new vacuum stack line is?
Yeah. So.
The Razor site was that much bigger.
Yeah, so they've got like another. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. I'd probably say about 1/3 to maybe 1/2 of an acre south that they own that's currently undeveloped, which we would propose to them because the easements in place right now are extremely vague. And they certainly between our property and their property, or what will be our property and the car wash property. Our perspective is. It certainly does not allow them to stack on that entrance. And so we plan to have that discussion with them for sure. Saying, at our cost, we're going to expand or create these 3 drive lanes just to help with circulation. But we're going to ask from them to provide a stacking area on the property.
Who would pay for that?
Presumably them.
Okay. Staff, is that something that they could be compelled to do, or?
Chair and board, on the payment side, we have no role in that. There is a condition that talks about the developer, because that's the entity making the request right now, submitting an exhibit, which they've shown me preliminary exhibits of what Lucas was just talking about, but of that potential stacking, or or a plan to alleviate the queuing concern. So we are working towards that aspect of, yes, there needs to be a solution that makes sure that these 2 uses can work together. That's what we're compelling them to do. What shape it looks like, we're largely leaving it to them to figure that
Okay.
out.
But they are in some way, the car wash is in some way compelled to cooperate with this.
Yeah, the car wash isn't making a request to the city right now,
Yeah.
so we have no ability to, and it's not their property, so that the access is onto. So that's why we're working with, in terms of conditions and compelling, it's to this applicant right now.
I'm just wondering if.
This drive aisle actually belongs to this property.
That's
Correct.
So the car wash is using your property.
That's right.
Okay, now there's some leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
I think it could be worked out.
I think so.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love for that access to be improved in the stacking area, because I'd like to use that car wash.
Well, hey, to be perfectly honest, we want to see that too because, we tend to be a low traffic and we like to be a quiet use. And so it only benefits us, as I've told the neighbors and everyone along the way, it only benefits us to help with this congestion here. So we're doing what we can to improve.
Staff, I got a question for you. That driveway that we've been talking about, is that an actual easement or is that a license to use?
Chair and board, as the developer did just reference that easement that's vague, that's how they have that legal use. It's not anything granted through the city. The car wash does not have a conditional use permit.
Yeah.
So there is nothing from the city that we have any leverage to, other than the developer right now, with their request. We have no leverage over the car wash to make a change.
So if it is an easement, then the car wash should be in the right to say that we have an easement, we don't have to do anything.
Well, as again, the developer just mentioned, he thought it was a vague easement, so really it's in their ballpark to figure those issues out. So the easements are between the two properties. The city is not a party to it.
Okay.
So again, condition 9C of the design review resolution talks to this point of compelling this applicant to show how potential queuing of cars could be alleviated with a shared drive. And that, again, could be additional queuing lanes on the property to the car wash, for the car wash, or another solution. I don't think it's in the best interest of the city to try to narrow tailor what that is right now, because we don't know. But between those two parties, if they can come up with something that they both agree on, then that's what we're working towards.
So the 3 lanes, from my perspective, the 3 lanes are for sure. There's enough room there for us to improve that road. Do 3 lanes at it. The stacking thing, that's a discussion that we have to have with the developer.
For turning into this site, this would be a question for staff. If you're coming from White Bear, you're making a left-hand turn into this. Okay, if you're coming from the opposite direction, from the west, moving towards White Bear, there's no drive aisle. Is there any concern by engineering of the car stacking in front of the residential?
So chair and commission,
With the added car flow to this site?
yeah, chair and board. So the complexity of that, as it's in the name, is County Road C and White Bear Avenue are both county roads. So Ramsey County, as the reviewing entity, which they have done, and they did not have any comments, any recommendations per this per this project. So as is conditions, they felt would satisfy what this project
But
needs.
from city operations wise though, or just from general, I mean, again, my own personal experience is that is so I've
Can you
done.
turn your mic on?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a very dark area. So when you have cars stacking there, and let's say on an evening that there is again, it's residential. It's without some car wash, it's one of these that's stacking business there. I just see it definitely with cars coming from that side, just people wanting into there. No, there's no turn lane. You're either in there or you're not.
So I have not been paying attention to that site, even though I live kind of in the neighborhood. So I'm wondering just how bad of a stacking problem is there right now?
In the spring, when everybody's getting their car washed, they'll be stacked out onto the front of the seat.
There's no consistent
Since they
time.
flip flop the car wash.
Okay,
Weird pockets.
The car wash, when it functioned in the opposite direction, they had the whole backside of that place to stack cars, bring them in, and then when they would leave, it was straight onto County Road C. They didn't have the vacuum facilities and stuff like that at that time, so I understand why they flip flopped it. Because they come out and they vacuum after they've washed. They almost need to come in and go into a roundabout queuing area in order to have space to function.
I can, if you'd like me to, I can pull up on my phone kind of what our proposed stacking.
Is there a way you have the scan thing if he put his phone on?
I have no ability to change what we see. So I
Do
think,
you have that? And
Yeah.
could Mike, if he emailed it to you?
yeah, and I'm fairly confident it's the graphic you've shared with
It is,
me
yeah.
before. But yeah, if you can pull it up, I think just sharing it with the group would
Yep.
suffice for
To
tonight.
see that would be.
Just give me a moment.
Sorry. And how many employees, did I understand it was 14 employees or that's,
We'll probably have,
or so like half that on staff or on call and, or on site at the time?
our peak will probably be 12,
Well,
maybe 13 or 14. So,
okay, you got about 75 units,
yep, so
of which 1/3 of them are people that will never drive.
no, so everybody moving into our building has a carry, so nobody can drive.
Nobody drives.
Yeah. So the only, literally your traffic for this building
Mhm.
is your staff and any visitors and
Okay,
food deliveries. So it's very low traffic.
okay, so we're not contributing that much to it.
No, and especially not compared to like multifamily or like a market rate multifamily. Like much more intense than our use.
Okay, thank you.
130 parking stalls is plenty, Mike. More than enough. And the residents aren't using them. So,
And Chair and Board, that's where that potential shared parking situation with an expanded clinic to the east comes into play.
they
So
could utilize the back row of stalls potentially.
correct. So there's probably definitely an argument that if you just took this site as is, how it's been proposed, is overparked for what they're using. But they've been working hand in hand with the clinic property owner to come up with a solution that works for their future business expansion plans as well.
That was one of the major issues that the other property owner had.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. Okay, it's becoming more clear.
I'm gonna send this over to.
I see that extra space on that car wash site. There's actually quite a bit of space. So like this is part of the car wash site right here. But then if you draw a line across, they have like all of that. It's not public. It's actually pretty good that. So like this little box here is part of the car wash.
Oh, yeah,
site.
yeah,
So then they have like a couple of
I remember them using that. And for, I think employee parking,
Just the
in that
Oh.
back corner.
and they could make it bigger, so. So it's really more of a car wash problem than a assisted living problem. Okay. Board, do you have any comments about the appearance of the building? Are we okay with that? The materials?
Like you said, I'd like to see cultured stone, because
Yeah.
not all products are one and the same there, so.
Yeah, they're not. There's some really ugly brands of manufactured stone, and there's people use cultured stone generically, but there are good-looking ones and not good-looking ones. So, obviously, the desirability to have a brand that is, like the brand Cultured Stone is actually a company,
Yeah.
but it gets used generically. So, they make very good stuff.
What is the material for the decorative trusses on the gables?
That'll be actual architectural too.
Timber, okay.
And it's selectively used.
Or is a friend of mine would say real tree wood?
Yes, actually.
Okay, very good, thank you.
I think the scale and size of this building stacked behind those commercial buildings, it's gonna fit, it's gonna look like a residential. It's gonna look very residential in scale. Have you seen the new apartments that, in the new buildings that got built out on Road C farther right by the church? Close to the.
Yep.
These are gonna look similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those will turn out.
They-
Maybe the landscape.
They aren't overwhelming.
They're not overwhelming, they fit with the scale of this neighborhood.
Yeah, and then just south of there is the car automotive multiplex. That's right. So,
Did you say that, the colors are still being determined, or are the elevations showing the color palette?
The elevations do show the color palette, but as we buy out the project, then we'll actually, we have certain specified materials that, from a quality point of view, are tested, and we put our name on it, because we used them before, and we trust them. But from those, the very buyout to the side.
Okay. Jason, do you have any, would you like to, make a, or state again what your proposed amendment to the proposal is?
Yeah, let me see where it fits.
Chair and board, as Jason's looking for that, I just wanted, this is the image that Lucas was referring to.
Okay,
Not trying to sidetrack the momentum, but.
all right. So then just north of the twisty part there, that would be the vacuum stations that are there right now. That doesn't matter, you know what? That's the car wash's problem, so. Okay.
Kind of reminds me of McDonald's queuing that they put on
Yeah,
what they're having to
oh yeah.
do that first. They get back into that entrance. So once they come back around that queuing area, I guess if there's a line, people are gonna learn. It's gonna have to be a learned habit. How to queue into this car wash.
Yeah. We have any more comments from the board or any questions for anybody? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Chair and board, as you're considering a motion, if there's items that you want to see be done, like look in photos of materials or have staff look at anything, that would be done before the issuance of building permit, so that's under item 9.
Okay,
There's already A, B, and C, so I would recommend 9D and so on for anything that you'd like to see happen before building permit issuance, if your recommendation is for approval.
okay.
Trash is inside. See anything like that, and then just the location of the kitchen equipment to make sure that that's screened properly.
Okay,
If it's exiting inside the building.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the design resolution for the building proposal at 1910 County Road C East. Sections 1, 2, 3, with an amendment to item 9, to have building materials submitted to staff and board for review, so that we can see the complete color palette and the actual brand of the products that are being proposed for the complete combination of the exterior materials. And then the location of just the kitchen equipment to make sure that that's screened properly visually, especially with the kitchen. It's going to be facing those other businesses. So to make sure that that's screened properly. And then 11, 12 as proposed.
okay. I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will take that to a vote. All those that would approve of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? None. Congratulations. You move on to the planning commission. Good luck with them. All right, thank you. All right, so we've gotten that out of the way. The next thing is the 2022 Community Design Review Board Annual Report. Staff report, please.
Sure, thank you, Chair and Board. So I'll keep this brief, but yes, it's our annual reporting back of the activities of the previous year for the CDRB. Actually, looking at the staff report reminded me that I'm going to ask you to take a photo when we're done here quick, just to put along with the report. I did tell you this in the report, so, but.
Saw it.
Yes. So the actual annual report itself, as you, for those who have been on the board for a while, this has occurred in various formats, physical books, website, direct reporting to the council. So we're still determining again for 2023 what the best medium is to present this to the council, but we will be doing something here shortly along with the planning commission, who's also looking at their annual report tonight. So I can just give a brief overview. This board met 8 times in 2022, reviewed 16 items, just a slight decrease from the previous year, but consistent with the number of items that this board annually sees compared to past years. In addition to your meetings, you also approved 15 the administrative minor construction 15-day review projects that you received along with the council via email. So, upwards to more than 26 projects that you have touch points on last year. Some of the more significant ones, Studer's Coffee, which is up and running on Maplewood Drive, Maplewood's second location. Becker Furniture World, has taken over the long vacant Toys R Us building. The McCarran's water treatment plant, which isn't maybe from a design aspect the most fun to review, but it's huge and it's a 5-year project, so city staff will be working on it for a long time. A number of residential projects from the assisted living up on County Road D and Legacy to the various apartments that were approved near the end of the year, the Myth redevelopment on County Highway 61, that reapproval of the 72 unit building, and then in Frost, west of English and the Savannah new apartment building there. So lots going on last year. In addition to projects like you saw tonight, we expect another similar busy type of year. In addition, something maybe we haven't done with the design board in the past is taking a look at, we're going to be looking at the multiple dwelling district, again with the handful of multiple apartment buildings that we've been seeing. We want to make sure that ordinance is meeting the needs of the city, as well as some sign requirements that we want to take a look at. Some of those are compelled by court cases that have taken place in Minnesota in recent history, the recent few years, and then just making sure that they're fresh and meeting the needs of the city. So we'll be bringing that to the CDRB throughout the year. So staff is recommending approval of your annual report. It can stand for any questions that the board may have. Otherwise, we would look for a motion.
I'll motion, but I would like to make it known that the diligence by staff in prepping these projects to present them to the board in such a professional, exceptional manner is greatly appreciated. It makes our review process go very, very nicely. The recap, forget about all the housing we approved this last year.
Sure.
I will second that motion as amended. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call that to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Didn't think so. It passes. Congratulations, us. All right, now we move on to the next thing, election of officers, our favorite thing to do.
Chair and board, no report tonight, but Mr. Kempe currently serves as the chairperson. Mr. Lamers is the vice chair. At the first meeting of every year, you're tasked with selecting new officers for 2023. So that should be done through voice nominations and ultimately a motion as well. So with that, I can stand for any questions, but it's your task.
Well, I would, I think it's always good for members of this board to get experience potentially in chairing the meetings. Bill does an exceptional job. If the members on this board would like to re-elect Bill as the chairperson, I would motion for that. And I would motion for maybe Tom to be the vice chair, to pick up that gavel if Bill is not able to attend. I think your attendance at these meetings has been exceptional. I know I miss a couple a year just because of my job requires me to travel, and I know I'm going to have traveled. So I think your attendance is greatly appreciated.
So happy to, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if anybody has any additional feedback on that motion.
No, all sounds good to me.
Okay, well, I would be happy to serve in any way that the board sees fit. And so I would go along with that. I guess I'd be second.
You'd be a second. All right. Tom, I think you would do an exceptional job in the vice chair. All right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, and being that I'm a candidate, I should say abstain.
I think you get to vote too.
Oh, we still have enough to carry, so.
Yeah, either way.
Okay, we are done with that. Next is unfinished business.
Chair board, staff doesn't have anything further for you tonight?
Board presentations. Nothing. Staff presentations.
Again, nothing. Thank you.
Visitors, we don't have any. I wonder why. So with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
Okay,
Motion.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. We are done. Congratulations, everyone. Enjoy the snow.